So I spent years and years working in office environments, and sometimes you would come in on a Monday morning and people would ask you, how was your weekend? And you would say, good. How was your weekend? And then they would say, good. And then they would ask you, did you get up to anything interesting? And then I would reply, not much, just cried. And I would often just leave it there and go about my day. And looking back, I'm not really sure why I used to say this. And I don't remember it getting me into any trouble. And maybe the people that I chose to say it to had a bit of a sense of humor. And I don't think I was saying this to executive directors, although actually that would have been the perfect person to say that kind of thing to. And of course, when you're talking like that and acting like that, it's usually a little bit of a cry for help. And even though I was never crying on the weekends, I probably should have cried on the weekends instead of drinking. Now, I was a lot worse, I think, in my 20s, where if, I remember some girls asking me what I did on the weekend or something, and I said something about preparing a meal for two wine glasses laid out in front of me on a fancy table in my apartment, candlelit dinner, that kind of thing. And I would stare at the empty chair in front of me, realizing that I was alone, and then I would cry. And it would get a little bit of a laugh. They would often ask me if it was necessary to create 2 meals if you're living alone. Why are you doing this to yourself? But after a while of working in this office, I just sort of gave up all of that and just started doing normal small talk and just sort of avoiding people in general and just having my closest friends around to actually be my authentic self around. So like I had this one INFJ friend that I was pretty open with for many, many years, and he was pretty open with me. Not always, but in general, he's the person that I was very, very honest around. And, from years and years of working in the government, I remember it was about 8 years in, and I was a little bit, just before I quit my job, I was quite happy. I was in a corporate team. I had the INFJ friend with me, and I was going off to get a coffee with this INFP woman, and I think we used to have very surreal conversations, as you can imagine. I can't remember what I was saying, but it was something a bit surreal. And there was this ISTJ woman who was walking with us, and she overheard me say this surreal thing, and then she said to me, "Peter, I've been working with you for 8 years, and I know nothing about you. You're a complete mystery to me. I have no idea who you are and what you do with your life." And then I thought to myself, wow, am I really that mysterious? That's awesome if that's true. I mean, a few years in to working at my last job, I came across this guy who looked really kind of a bit nervous. He had a bit of a nervous demeanor to him, but he was wearing a purple scarf, and he was also 5'10" like me, which I'm not sure if that's an INFP trait for males or not, but for some reason, all of my INFP friends, bar one, are 5'10" if they're male. And anyway, one day this guy was doing an errand to my team. He had to quickly drop something off, and I asked him if I can have a word with him, and he came over a bit nervously, and I asked him if he's an INFP, and he looked quite happy with me saying this, because he said, "I am an INFP. How did you know? That's amazing." Now that INFP went in a bit of a different direction in that office. He was quite a lot more nervous and introverted than me in the way he came across, but he did dress in a much more idiosyncratic. He had a very colourful way of dressing that was always a bit unusual, and he actually had business cards for his. He has a YouTube channel, and he would put business cards up around the office promoting it. And in some ways, he was more willing to put himself out there. I would argue he had more friends than me, but he reckons I definitely had more friends than him. So I guess the question I want to put here is, how much mystery should you have around yourself as a protection mechanism? Is it bad to have too much of that? I would say yes, it is, I think, quite bad to withdraw completely and not let anybody in. But on the other hand, I think like anything in life, if you have a few barriers or a few gates, I don't know, is it like having plants, and sometimes it's good for them to be in the sun, but maybe too much sun is bad. Sometimes they need to be put in the shade. I mean, I don't know. All the plants in my apartment are dying, so I don't know why I'm bringing this up. But basically, I've concluded that keeping a nice amount of mystery around you in the world, around people that you maybe are not extremely close to, is a good thing for you in general. And, I was talking with my INFP hairdresser earlier this year, and we both agreed that people are horrible. That was a quote that she said. Don't forget, people are horrible. We had both sort of withdrawn at this point, because the truth is, while a lot of people are lovely, I mean, everyone's different, everyone's unique. But the truth is, if you're a sensitive person and there's things that you really want to protect about yourself, you might have to remember that some people are going to kind of get a bit vicious about that and try and put you down about that. In my case, I think it was New Year's Eve. My friend, the INFJ friend, he's got an ENFJ wife who doesn't like me having long hair, and she's quite scathing about it. And I don't go to their occasions anymore. I made a stand. I pulled away. But yeah, I told my INFP hairdresser this, and she said, "You've got to be really careful what you say yes to in terms of social occasions. Otherwise, you're going to get hurt. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say in this video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments. It's a pretty odd topic. I don't know what the truth is. I don't know what the right approach in life is. I think, like a lot of things in life, it's just a balance. Have a bit of mystery to you and also be authentic and honest about things as well. Yeah. All right. Catch you next time. Let me know what you think in the comments. Bye.